Welcome everyone. I'm just going to give it another minute or so, just let other people in. Hope everyone's had a lovely day. Beautiful weather today. All right, so let's get started. So welcome everyone. We're very happy to be here with you tonight and thank you for joining us. Firstly, let's do some introductions. My name is Charlotte and I'm the CEO of the Learning Team. It's my mission to train agents, whether they are beginning or well into their career, to be confident, compliant and successful. I've been involved in the adult vocational education space for over 15 years and I've helped many students into their new careers. I'm also the principal of a buyer's agency, so CPD also applies to me as well, which is why I've aimed to make the process as easy as possible for other agents. I have with me tonight Chris, who is the education manager of the Learning Team. Chris wears lots of hats. He is a buyer's agent and a selling agent and co-business owner. He's also a great coach and trainer to his students. And on top of that, just a great all-rounder. So he will be helping me out tonight with keeping this session on track. So let's get into our session on understanding CPD. I bet you're all super excited for this. Our topics tonight are really just to help agents understand what their obligations are and how to achieve those obligations. But we will firstly discuss the background of CPD a little, just to help put it into some context for you. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will endeavour to answer those at the end of the session. We expect this session will go for about 25 minutes. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is CPD? Well, it stands for Continuing Professional Development. So in simple terms, it's structured learning designed to help you stay current, stay compliant and stay competitive in your role as a real estate professional. And in Queensland, as of the 6th of June, it became mandatory for all licensed real estate agents and registered salespeople to complete CPD training every year to maintain their license. In other states, CPD already exists. So this isn't just a random change for Queensland alone, but really an opportunity for Queensland to catch up. Now, CPD isn't just about ticking a box for compliance though. It's about making sure we as an industry continue to operate with professionalism, up-to-date knowledge and confidence, especially as legislation, technology and consumer expectations evolve. So think of it as investing in yourself, your clients and your future in real estate. And today we'll break down exactly what the new CPD requirements look like, how to choose the right training, and how the Learning Team can make it as simple and valuable as possible for you and your agency. So why was CPD introduced? Well, historically in Queensland, once a real estate professional obtained their licence or registration, there was no requirement for ongoing education. This meant that individuals could practice for decades without any formal updates to their knowledge, despite changes to law or industry practices. REIQ highlighted this gap, noting that some agents had not undertaken further training since the 70s, and this posed risks to both consumers and the industry's reputation. So to address these concerns, the Queensland Government initiated a consultation process, engaging with industry stakeholders, including REIQ and the public, and the consensus was mandatory CPD would ensure that all property professionals remain informed about current laws, ethical standards and best practices. This initiative then culminated into the amendment to the Property Occupations Act of 2014 to require annual CPD, with the effective date of June 6, 2025. The aim is to make sure that agents are equipped to navigate the complexities of modern real estate transactions and thereby protecting consumers and enhancing trust in the profession. So as you can see from this screen, there is a penalty for not completing your CPD in your licence registration year of 10 penalty units. And as of the 1st of July, the cost of a penalty unit went up to $166.90. So 10 times equals a $1,669 fine. So a great question came up from the last CPD info session we did. So I thought I would add it in for tonight's session. And the question was, who is liable for the penalty if the real estate agent has not completed the required CPD? Is it the agent or the principal? So the short answer is it could be both, because each real estate agent is responsible for their own CPD to be met. However, as we can see from the Act, the licensee or in charge or the principal must take reasonable steps to ensure each real estate salesperson employed at the place is properly supervised and complies with this Act. So I would suggest that the principals or licensee in charge keep a register of their employees meeting their requirements, so they themselves don't find themselves on the hook for potentially breaching the Act. Okay, so you're probably thinking, yes, but what does all of this mean for me? So let's dive into the nitty-gritty. Each year, all agents are required to complete 2 approved CPD sessions. These sessions are designed to keep you current of legislative changes, ethical considerations, and emerging industry trends. By investing in your professional development, you not only comply with legal requirements, but also position yourself as knowledgeable and trustworthy in the eyes of your clients. So the introduction of mandatory CPD is a step towards fostering a more competent, ethical, and consumer-focused real estate industry in Queensland. And it's an opportunity for all of us to elevate our standards and contribute to the profession's ongoing credibility and success. But on a side note, there are a few exceptions to who has to complete CPD, which I'll go quickly over with you. You don't need to complete CPD training if your current license or registration was first issued less than 12 months ago. You only need to start 12 months after your current license or registration was first issued. You don't have to complete if your license was deactivated for most of your CPD year, or if you hold a limited real estate agent license for affordable housing or for business letting, or if you represent public sector agencies, or you're an official with a license under the Property Occupations Act of 2014, provided that you don't hold an individual license. If you separately hold the individual license or registration, you must still complete CPD training. So it's pretty much for everyone. So taking each step at a time to get started, you first need to know when your anniversary of license registration is, because it's in that year that you're required to complete the 2 approved CPD sessions. So step 1, find out when your CPD year starts. If you know when your license is due, awesome, that's great. But if not, head to the OFT site and find the Check a License page and search your name, and it will provide the date when it's due. Chris is going to put that link in the chat now for you. Want to have a look at that? So once you have your date, then you would head to the calculator page on the OFT site. So you add the date that you've just gotten from the Check a License page, and then as this image shows here, it advises when you need to have your CPD completed by. Thank you, Chris, for putting the links in the chat. You can copy those links, have a quick look at when your date is after the session. So now you've got the time frame, you need to understand how to meet the requirements. So you can meet the requirement in one of 2 ways. So option 1 is you complete 1 type 1 session, which is core skills, and 1 type 2 session, which is focused on service and ethics. Or the option 2 is just complete 2 type 1 sessions. And so what are these session types? The OFT have decided that they would categorize into 2 types of sessions. Type 1 sessions are designed to provide more comprehensive and structured training, and the OFT within that recognizes 2 different approved formats for Type 1 CPD. So there is a nationally recognized unit of competency from one of the 3 approved qualifications, which I will refer to as NRT just for clarity in this session, and NRT meaning nationally recognized training. Or the other option is a condensed, non-accredited version of one of those units, which has been specially approved by the OFT. The approved qualifications that Type 1 sessions can be drawn from include the CPP 405-24 Cert 4 in Strata Community Management, the CPP 41419 Cert 4 in Real Estate Practice, and CPP 51122 Diploma of Property Agency Management. And then the Type 2 sessions are just special interest and must be approved by the OFT, but you can find the list of those approved sessions on the OFT website. And Chris is going to also add that link to the chat. Thank you. All right, so choosing the right CPD unit. It's a personal decision. There's no one size fits all, but to help you make the best choice, there's two things that I think are the best things to consider. So first, know what qualification you currently hold. That gives you a clear picture of what you've already achieved and where you might be lacking or need some refreshing. And secondly, think about your career goals. Are you looking to upskill in a specific area, work toward a full qualification, or perhaps just prepare for a leadership role? Your CPD choice should support just not only where you are now, but where you want to go next. So let's just quickly look at the history of qualifications to help you identify what your qualifications might be. If you completed your training prior to the introduction of CPP 41419 in 2019, you would have completed units of competency from CPP 40407, the Cert 4 in Property Services. So every 10 to 15 years, the industry will review a qualification and upgrade it. And you can tell the year it starts being used is by the last two digits of the qualification code. So we currently have the 19 version, meaning it was released in 2019. And RTOs would have transitioned from the 07 qualification into the 19 qualification, and they generally get 12 months or so to do that process. So you may still have completed the 07 qualification as the RTO was transitioning. Okay, so why does knowing this help you? Well, if you completed your training in the 07 qualification, you would not hold any of the current NRT units of competency, and you could confidently choose any of the Type 1 NRT units, knowing you do not already hold them. If you completed the 19 qualification, then you may have already completed some of those units in order to get your license. So check your qualification record of results to see what units you already have. And if you can't even remember when you completed your training because it's been such a long time, there's probably a good chance you don't have any of the current units, and that's okay. So that just gives you plenty of options. The next thing to consider is, what are your goals? So if you're a property manager and would like to perhaps expand into sales, then there's units of competency to help you achieve that. Or perhaps you've been working in sales for someone and you're wanting to break free and do your own thing. Well, you might look at doing the units required to get your full license. And this can be achieved over time to meet your CPD requirements and also fit into your busy schedule. Or maybe you just want a refresher on a particular topic. So I can't really tell each and every one of you right now which session to choose, but I'm also happy to discuss with you personally on a phone chat if you'd like a little bit more information about that. Okay, so what does the learning team offer? Well, we have the Type 1 NRT sessions. And unlike other providers, we have packaged our units so you can complete them individually and over time. So what I mean by that, for example, you currently hold sales registration, but you would like to upgrade to have the complete qualification to become a licensed agent or principal. Well, instead of doing the full upgrade course, which we also do offer if you want to do it quickly, but if you want to take your time, plan out your CPD, you can cover all requirements for 3 years and come out at the end with a full qualification. Or perhaps you want to move into becoming a buyer's agent. We have those as the full skill set, or complete them individually over time and meet some requirements that way. We've also packaged the course so you can either complete one session or 2 sessions. So just decide which strategy you're going to go with and hit the Start Today button for either one. Our pricing is also designed to make it accessible for everyone. one session is just $105, or take care of your whole requirement and do the 2 sessions for just $145. We have a simple online enrolment process that you'll be taken to, and when completing your online enrolment form, you will be given a list to which you can then choose which units you would like to do. Following all those steps, you will then get your login details and be able to start training. We also have a step-by-step video on completing the enrolment, and we will give you that link, and it can also be found on our website. So we allow 4 weeks for each session, but we don't expect that it will take you 4 weeks to complete. However, 4 weeks, that gives you plenty of time to allow for the unexpected stuff of life that may come up and take you away from your study. And it also allows for any corrections that may be required. We do suggest that even if you don't want to or don't need to complete your CPD straight away, that you should set a reminder in your phone for approximately 2 to 3 months before your registration is due, just to remind you to get it organised, because you don't want to cause any undue panic and stress at the very last minute. Last thing you want to do is forget and then be facing a fine or potentially worse. And then once you've completed the sessions, you'll be assessed, and when deemed competent, you will receive a statement of attainment. You'll use the statement of attainment as your evidence for the OFT, and this record of completion will also go into your unique student identifier record. So if you ever lose your statement, there's still a record of completion on your file. The learning team will continue to add sessions so that you'll have plenty of choice as your career progresses. We're also open to suggestions for what your agency may really find beneficial. So as we develop courses, we have the ability to contextualize to specific needs. So if it's something that interests you, please reach out and we can discuss those interests with your agency. So what's the advantage of completing an NRT session? Well, by completing the nationally recognised unit, you're not only meeting your CPD obligation, you're also gaining formal credit toward a qualification. This means you're getting a more substantial and future-focused training experience that supports your career beyond just compliance. Cool. So we're coming to the end of our session. So let's just recap what we've discussed. So we've talked about what CPD is and why it's important to the industry and why it's been brought in. We also discussed your obligations and how to find your CPD date on the Office of Fair Trading site. And again, we suggest you do this after the session and set yourself a reminder. We've discussed understanding what sessions you need to complete and the difference of the Type 1 and the Type 2 sessions, and how to get started if you choose to enrol with a learning team. So let's have a look at some questions. Do we have some questions, Chris?
We do, Charlotte. Just have you got me there?
Yeah, I can hear you. That's great.
Lovely. So the first one was, how does the Office of Fair Trading check if I've done my CPD?
Oh, great question. So they've advised that you could be audited at any time, especially during your license renewal. So you have to keep your CPD records for at least 5 years because they could check on your previous years. And some people register for 3 years at a time. So you would still, even in those years, still need to complete your training each year for those particular years. Okay. Yeah, and like the learning team, we issue digital certificates for each session that you complete. So that makes it easy to maintain.
Okay. This one was actually from the other day. I'm a principal, and while this hasn't happened yet, if one of my agents attended a training session at a conference and they want to count that as a CPD, can I accept it?
Well, it would depend on what the conference is. If it's been approved by the Office of Fair Trading to meet the requirements of either session 1 or session 2, then yes, it would meet their CPD requirements. But if it's just a random session, then no, it would not meet the requirements.
Okay, and this one came at the same time, but someone else in the office. Does my agency have to pay for me to complete my CPD?
No, they do not. So CPD is the agent's responsibility. You may be lucky enough to work at an agency that's happy to cover it all for everybody, but generally no, they don't. They're not required to pay for your CPD.
Okay, we've got two more. What if I've only just got my license? Do I still need to do CPD this year?
No. So they give you 12 months, and then once you've got past your 12 months, then you need to start doing the CPD in that following 12 months.
Okay, and last one. I'm the office admin, but I hold a full license in case I'm needed. Do I still have to complete a CPD?
Okay, so, well, if you're working in administration but you still have a license, then yeah, if you have a license, you need to complete your CPD, even if you are not particularly using it as your main role at work.
Yeah. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you. Okay, they were great questions. Okay, so before we head off, we'd just like to ask for a quick review. If you found this session helpful, we'll send out a link so that you can maybe give us a thumbs up. We appreciate your feedback. So that brings our session to a close. We hope that you found this helpful and get you on the right track for CPD. If you have any more questions, please reach out to us. So good night, everyone, and thank you again for attending.